Hello and welcome to another Inside Gaming Review. I'm Adam Kovic, your host, joined by Alana and Lawrence.
Hi.
Hi. You guys are the experts. We played a little game called Devil May Cry 5. This is technically the 6th, I believe.
Yeah.
If we all want to forget about the disastrous DMC.
I liked that game.
From
DMC was great.
The monsters at Ninja Theory.
It's too easy to get
Great
triple S
studio.
rank. Shut up.
How dare they?
Dante doesn't have white hair. Finish the game.
I guess before I have only played the first portion of the game. I actually didn't have a lot of time to play it, so I have a few questions about the game. Sure. Lawrence and Alana, how far did you guys get?
Well, I finished it on Devil Hunter or whatever, and then it just starts you over back on Son of Sparta. But I do intend to play through it again. I enjoyed it a lot, and I'm excited to see how ratcheting up the difficulty changes the game. So yeah, we'll see.
I've played about 5 hours also on Devil Hunter.
That's the normal. So you get two settings before you start the game.
It presents you with like easy and normal, and
Gotcha.
then it unlocks real mode after that.
I also went with normal mode because, like many people, I have a weird sort of history with Devil May Cry. Devil May Cry is the first game I ever bought before I owned a console. I played it at a friend's house. I played the demo, and I loved the game so much that I went and saved enough money to buy it and take the game over to my friend's house to play it there. So it is, and then I was burned by the second one. Somehow missed the third one, and then the most recent one I played was DMC.
Bummer, 3 was so good.
That's what I heard.
Yeah.
I think
this is reminiscent of the original ones a lot as well. Like,
it mixes everything.
I guess
together.
my question is because I'm so scatterbrained with the franchise, and I don't know where everyone else is. Who's Nero?
He is a new character and accordingly has some different combat mechanics than Dante or V, who is also a new character for 5. Mm-hmm. He was a new edgy boy that was the protagonist in 4. Devil May Cry 5 is them basically handing the series off to Nero in a more official way.
The game does open up with you playing as Nero, and Dante is an older man now?
Yeah, Dante's the only one who ages in Devil May Cry, apparently.
I'm still trying to follow the plot. It's kind of all over the place.
I don't think it's that nonsensical. I mean,
it's anime.
It's very anime,
Yes.
It's very dramatic, and I'm following it just fine, having not touched a Devil May Cry game in a long time. Like, I didn't play the re-releases, so I'm doing all right with following the story. That doesn't mean that I think it's a tremendous story, but I'm following.
It moves you from one room to another to
the
kill.
combat's the reason to play it.
It's a little pretentious to start because there's a lot of times where characters are doing the same thing at the same time, and you'll do a thing from one person's perspective, then it'll click back and you'll do it again with another character from another perspective. And that sounds like really hoity-toity for a Devil May Cry. However, there's something that I noticed playing it as it leads up to launch. I think what happens is as you're going through those levels and there are other characters like to the side doing other stuff, they'll actually match you with other players playing Devil May Cry. Oh. So you'll be Dante here doing some stuff, and then someone else will be V, and you can just watch them like playing through a window, and it'll tell you like the stylish rank they get and everything, and you can rate them after the level. That's kind of cool. That's a neat little twist on like not quite multiplayer, but acknowledging there are other people playing the game kind of thing, and it works together with the story since things happen at the same time a lot. It's neat. It's neat.
I don't remember the series being so cutscene heavy.
Sometimes I've actually found it a little bit jarring. Like, I'll be in the middle of combat and then a cutscene will be triggered where I don't expect it to happen. But for the most part, I feel like it's still a game that is about combat. That's most of what you spend your time doing is fighting things, trying to get that S rank. And
Triple S.
I found it tough. But I'm slowly getting better, and I find that rewarding.
Lawrence,
Like previous Devil May Cries, you get red orbs. They're the blood pellets flying out of enemies. That's your currency. You spend that on new moves and upgrades. Kind of an interesting bit, though. There aren't health recovery items anymore. You can't buy green orbs. You get them, but if you go down in combat, you just like pull a 3-point stance, and you can either use a gold orb, which is a continue, or you can spend red orbs to just resurrect on the spot. You get a garbage rank for continuing, so it's all about that. If you want an S rank, you got to play clean. So Nero, he had a demon arm in 4 that gave him this yank mechanic. For plot reasons, his arm is gone. So in return, Nico, who is the southern drawl van driving mechanic, builds these mechanical arms for him. When you have an arm equipped, it changes your moveset. Like there is an arm move you get. The arm mechanics actually take a while to understand. You get a basic attack that is different for every arm. If you get hit while you're using it, it breaks the arm.
And arms are just, they're called devil breakers. And then you'll just pick them up across the world for the most part.
They're
if
like
you run out of arms, you can't use that move anymore.
Then you just don't have a right arm.
And we're only talking about one character, something that I guess is not exactly new to the franchise, but you play as multiple characters in the game. You start off with Nero, and then you take over as V, and then lastly Dante. our old man hero.
Yeah, they grizzled him up.
They did.
Whatever, man. I'm into the visual variety of it.
It's honestly probably to differentiate him.
Yeah, from Nero.
Yeah, because
For
they
sure.
are pretty similar characters. Even their attitudes are kind of similar.
Yeah,
so.
they're both brash young devil hunters. Except it's weird now that Dante's older and still being like still like saying his dumb phrases and.
He's still Dante.
Yeah,
I
he's still old
found
Dante.
Nero to actually be very reminiscent of Dante from DMC, the Ninja Theory game, which if I recall, everyone hated that character.
I'm bagging this bitch.
I think it's just because he was different.
I think there's enough fan service and enough I think there's enough linking back to old Devil May Cries that it should make the fans pretty happy.
I think this also it does feel like an older video game. Like, Adam, you recently played Crackdown 3 and found it really fun because it's just a dumb, fun video game.
Right.
DMC takes itself a little more seriously, but I think it is very reminiscent of older video games. There are a lot of things about it that are like old video game tropey, like getting into a room and having a red wall go up and you not being able to leave until you've killed every enemy. That's a really old thing that doesn't happen that much anymore. That was actually kind of nice to go back to. I mean, there are a lot of loading screens. That's a criticism that I have in between all of
Interesting.
those.
It loaded really fast for
But
me.
there are a lot of pauses.
Cool.
It is quick. I suppose it's just that for me, it's like been breaking the flow of the thing. But
I can see that.
in a similar way, it feels like an older video game in a way that I'm kind of enjoying.
Also, the cutscenes, I think it's the same director that did the cutscenes for Devil May Cry 3. So they're very cheeky, over-the-top action.
Oh, they're very fun to watch.
Yeah. The intro sequence where it's like the slow-mo van flipping and Nero sort of jumping around, the credit sequence is awesome.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've seen a Spider-Man, I think was the last one, where I saw a thing in a game that was just like, oh, this is like just nerding out at how cool it
It's
is.
only like 6 months ago, Lawrence. It's okay.
It's been a lot. It's been a
so
while.
long.
It used to be so. Well, actually, it wasn't. Whatever.
I guess that the core of the game, it is the combat, and then everything else is sort of supplemental. But I did find that the music is a lot of fun.
Music's awesome.
It goes really well. It seems to go.
Anime metal.
It's like a fighting game or a hack and slash game, but also feels like a rhythm game in some ways.
A little, yeah.
Especially as Nero, because he's got that stupid motorcycle handle, and if you hit left trigger in timing with your attacks, it'll rev up the literal engine in his sword, and that makes you do more damage and unlocks new combo
Ridiculous
stuff. So.
anime.
Yeah,
Yep.
It is one of those games, and Alana, you're totally right. It feels like an older game, where it feels hard in the right way. That I feel like I'm doing something wrong, and I can get better the more I can play it. But it is pretty unforgiving when you go down. I believe the second boss fight got a little tough for me, and I had to kind of figure out the lock-on mechanics were a little wonky for me. I don't know if that was
It took me a
weird.
while to get the lock-on figured out, for sure. I don't know why.
Well, the thing that bugs me, and I could be wrong about this, but it feels accurate, is that you can't switch your lock on while you're doing anything. You have to be standing neutral and clicking the left stick for a lock on a switch.
I think you might be right.
Because there were a lot of times I was mid-combo and I was like, I'm targeting the wrong person, and then I'd want to switch and it just wouldn't do it. So some moves require lock-on, some need you to not be locked on. So for me, it was more, I learned to use the lock-on a lot more situationally than just holding it on the one enemy I was trying to kill.
I feel like other than some minor issues with the lock-on, I don't have any complaints about the combat. I find it really, really fun. I feel like there's a solid amount of move variety. Some of the combos get pretty complicated, but not so much that it's hard to follow what they are. And the three characters play differently. So.
Yeah, they play very differently.
Yeah.
I would just be getting used to Nero, and then they'd switch me to V, and be like, okay, another move set to learn. I'd just be getting used to it, and then they'd switch me to Dante. Like, So there was a bit of it was paced well enough, but it is that thing where like getting a triple S or an S rank in a combo feels so good that once you start doing it, it sucks to hit the reset button on that.
Yeah.
I do appreciate that all three characters do play fairly differently. Dante and Nero are similar. V is so different. Basically, he has two little demon pals, but one's like a super move. He's got a little crow and a little cougar man, but you still move as V. So there were times where I as V would be trying to back up or dodge an attack, and then I'd hit melee, and then the panther would just be off in nowhere, attacking nothing. So it was interesting to track the relative positions of multiple things around the battlefield while I was also trying to not get hit. It's a different kind of challenge for Devil May Cry, and I actually really enjoyed it.
They also have a easy option that you can turn off and on at any point, either through the menu
Combo assist,
or you hold down the R3 if you just click in with the right stick. As my moveset started to increase, I found turning that mode off made the game way more fun. I don't know. I think it's a nice feature for people who want it. And
For sure.
I guess don't have it on when your friends come over because they'll think you're a scrub. The last time I professed any sort of love for a Devil May Cry game, it was DMC, and people yelled at me and told me I was wrong.
They are
loved
wrong.
DMC too.
I think we're far enough away now that people have gotten over their dumb bullshit reasons for not liking DMC.
I legitimately enjoy that game. I really enjoy the combo system of switching between the two powers mid-fight, and I like games like that, so that, to me, was a great game. I'm really enjoying this one. I want to spend more time with it. I'm glad Devil May Cry is still relevant in the year of our Lord 2019, so I can't wait to play
One thing
more.
I wanted to ask you, Lawrence, a thing that hasn't impressed me has been the environment variety. Is there much of that as you get on?
I was feeling that way about halfway through the game too. So there is more variety later. Like you go to the top of the thing and you're like up in the clouds and it's very like white and blue.
Okay.
So it mixes it up there a little bit, and then you also go down into some weird demon like fantasy layer that is dark but different.
It's bleak and it all looks the same.
Yes. That is a weak point, I think, and they could have used one more environment.
Yeah.
And especially since they're dealing with, demon trees, they could pretty much do whatever they want. But I think in the wake of having like 3 really fleshed out mechanically unique characters, that I'd rather have that than more levels in the same character, if you treat it as zero sum. So
I guess it's one thing we didn't actually touch on. Graphically, it is really on point.
Looks great. It's the re-engine, the thing they used for Resident Evil 7 and Resident Evil 2. The tech is real good.
Yeah, facial animations are super impressive.
Yeah,
Voice acting's all really good too.
Yeah,
I found it to be a little cheesy, but in
Meant to be though, right?
in a fun way.
Yeah.
Very anime.
I think they went for that.
Who brought the marshmallows? Because I'm bringing the fire.
Yeah.
Make
what
it
are
more anime.
What are your final thoughts, Alana? What do you score this game you haven't completed yet, you liar?
I definitely have not. I mean, right now I feel like I'd give it a 7. I feel like I might end up giving it an 8. We have to see when I finish it, but I'm really enjoying the combat. I really like basically the style canon, which has been in all of them, but I feel like because there's so much variety between the 3 characters and they each have varied movesets, that the combat is really, really fun and constantly feels rewarding, and I really like that about it. I don't think the story's all that interesting. I don't think the levels are all that interesting, so it's not like it's like a full 10 out of 10 across the board for me, but DMC or Devil May Cry fans in general are totally going to like it, and it's giving me this nice nostalgia that's been really fun to play through.
Very brave of you to speak for an entire generation of people and a subset of humanity.
You're gonna like it.
Lawrence, what are your final thoughts?
I like it a lot. I like it so much that I'm going to play it through again on a harder difficulty. And to me, there's so many games that I want to play that if I'm willing to go through a game again to like experience more of it and see what mechanical depth it has, speaks a lot to the value of it. If that's the kind of game you want to play, it is a character action game. It's a beat 'em up. So if you don't like Devil May Cry, this one's not going to change your mind. But
of course.
I think they gave it a real good effort. They put a decent amount of content in there. They could probably have used a couple more stages, maybe some more level variety, but to me now, the difference between it being an 8 or a 9 in terms of Devil May Cry is like, how much is the second run going to add to my experience? They added this weird thing, like this almost Zelda thing, where now when you kill an enemy, it puts a photo of it in Nico's scrapbook and like has some like flavor text about the monsters. So they're still adding stuff. I would like there to be some kind of incentive for level ranks, because at the end you get a rank. But usually in Devil May Cry, there's like a results screen that shows you your rank on all levels. And part of the thing about Devil May Cry is getting like triple S on everything, doing heaven or hell difficulty or hell or hell difficulty, whatever. Maybe all that stuff's in the game. I don't know. But I'm excited to keep exploring and find out.
Well, like the great poet Dante, I'm sure he's super happy what we've done with his great poem that he was trying to diss the Catholic Church with. And with that, we say goodbye to Devil May Cry 5. If you enjoyed this review, we have lots of other coverage of other games, like
Sekiro, Shadows Die Twice. Yeah, so you might be seeing a lot of previews going up right now because the embargo time was the same.
Perfect. Well, check it out then.
Yeah, just so we don't slam the channel. That's going up tomorrow in the morning. So check it out. Sekiro's awesome.
Our opinions matter.
Validate us. Well, if we're fully boiling it down to what this game is, this is the thing that annoys me the most about it, is that it's so aggressive about microtransactions that it almost feels like a mobile game.
It's getting gross.
It
really?
very, very, very much annoyed me.
What's an example?
Well, Far Cry 3 is my favorite Far Cry. And in that, you are unlocking abilities and you're getting the tattoos on your arm, and it's all happening through the story, right?